Once you've saved all of the test files, you can go on and run them through your web server. One thing you want to do is to make sure that both your Apache and MySQL servers are running. And you can start a new tab, and you need to type the address of your web server, which happens to be localhost. That address, localhost, will direct you to the web server that's running on your computer, on this computer. It's important to understand that you always have to use this localhost address to view your files, because if you try and open your PHP files as plain files, they will not work. They may show up as text, or they may not show up at all, but they won't have any functionality. They have to go through your web server through this localhost address so that they can run. Let's try and open one of the files. Let's say one of the test files, this MySQL test XAMPP PHP, and let's see what will happen. Well, you see that it doesn't show anything, it doesn't do anything. That's because you opened it as a file. You see here it says file C, which is your hard drive, and the full address. Instead, if you use localhost as your address and refer to the PHP file through that address, you see that you get some output. This doesn't have to make sense to you at this point. This comes from one of the default databases that reside on your database server. What this MySQL test XAMPP PHP script does is it counts the rows in one of the tables in one of the default databases on your database server. But you see that you're able to access and run the PHP script, the PHP file, as intended. So always make sure that you use the localhost address and never open your PHP files through this open file feature of your browser. So let's try and test each of the test scripts in turn. Let's start with phpinfo.php. This should return a long list of values, basically information about your web server, the parameters, etc. It's whether it's working in conjunction with your MySQL server, and if you see an entry for MySQL and then another entry for MySQLi, you conclude that the two servers work fine in conjunction. So if you see this output, basically, you know that your Apache web server is running okay, and your PHP module is running okay. This MySQLi test XAMPP PHP script, which we already looked at, if you click that, you should see a number, which is the number of rows in a table in one of the default databases on your MySQL database server. This will work, as I said, if you did not assign a password to your MySQL server. There's another version with password. This should not work if you did not assign a password. The reason being, of course, this sends a password to the server, and the server does not accept that because there's no password assigned.